Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're going to be doing a tier list of OP Manhwa. Here's a little breakdown of how the system's going to work. S tier is going to be very clearly defined as, from the beginning of the story, you could fight some of the strongest people in this world. Maybe even the strongest person. Would you win? That's not the point. It's the fact that you're at least at a level that you could challenge them and it would be a fight that's worth watching, kind of thing. At the A tier, we're going to be looking at things that are at least at the principal level. So think of a school, you'd have the teachers, the professors that are just above you, and you'd have the principal of the school, and if you could solo them, you're made A tier, or at least challenge them in a fight. If in a context of like a solo leveling, that would be like a national level hunter in that specific case. Going down to B tier, this is the case where we go down to like maybe an S tier hunter, or we would be talking about, in the case of a school, teacher level, someone that would be a sensei. I know these things seem a little weird, but it's more like each world kind of has its own rules and you have to adapt the ratio to it. In the C tier, it's you're really strong for your class. You could fight pretty much anyone in your class and you would probably win. That's the kind of the concept of that. And that works in any of those hunter manhwa as well, where you're a ranker of a certain rank. Hey, you're stronger than pretty much anyone between the E tier and the A tier. In the case of D, we're going to be having manhwa where the protagonist is strong for his environment. So this might be able to beat down the bullies around him, or is pretty strong in his class, but there's definitely some people above him, kind of thing at that point. And to put context, we're only looking at the first 30 chapters of the manhwa. A lot of these manhwa would get to S tier entirely, because by the end of the manhwa, they're the strongest in the world. No, most of the time. So the idea is we're going to take the first 30 chapters and we're going to find out, is our protagonist OP from the beginning? That's kind of the idea. Or if his power gets unlocked a little later, we're going to do it based on when his main power gets unlocked. Thanks solo leveling and his ability to raise the dead. I consider that his primary power, so I only base that on the point at which I would continue to evaluate the series. That being said, guys, please do enjoy the video. Here's my tier list of OP Manhwa. Alright, starting off as Second Life Ranker. Okay, Second Life Ranker, definitely not world tier. He's not starting off the story challenging everyone. He's... the first 30 chapters, he's slowly learning the world, training really hard, redoing the novice levels repeatedly. I would say he's definitely strong among his peers, but I'd say he's at least as strong as his class. Like, so all of the entry levels, he's definitely strong. Among the people that would be above him, I don't think he's quite as strong. So I'm going to put him as C, and I think that's a pretty fair place to put him through a good portion of the story, actually. He's way stronger than his people, and eventually he gets to the point where he can challenge people significantly higher. The Heavenly Demon can't live a normal life. Kind of a mid-manhwa, I'll be perfectly honest with you. That being said, where would I put him from the strength perspective? Definitely stronger than his peers. He's, even within the first 30 chapters, thinking of like chapter 20-something, there's a place where he like takes on battle after battle after battle. He could definitely, I think, fight against his teachers. I would say I would put him in the B tier of his world. Questionable, because he is definitely really powerful. I wonder to what point that would be the case. So based on what I saw for his first 30 chapters or so, I think I would put him in the B tier. Disagree? Go for it. I'm really not the Demon God's lackey is a bit of a weird one, I'm not gonna lie. When I was trying to think of this like system to rank these things, there's going to be characters that are kind of on the periphery of things that just don't fit in their own world to a certain extent. I'm going to put I'm not the Demon God's lackey around a D. Or I'm tempted to put him in C. The reason is his ability is more of a convenience at the beginning. He sets things up, sets things in motion, and arranges things. It's an interesting concept. That being said, is he more powerful pound per pound than everyone else? I wouldn't say that he is. For that reason, I'm going to put him down a D, and honestly, if there was an E category, I would probably have put him there. Alright, looking at Memoir of a God of War, Memoir of a God of War. I'm not even sure this is the right visual, but anyway. Memoir of a God of War is... The main protagonist is ridiculous. He's extremely, extremely powerful right from the start. Is he world level? I don't know, but I think he's either falling in like country level or at minimum B tier. I'm going to put Memoir of a God of War here, because he is pretty darn strong. On the flip side, I'm going to put Fist Demon of Manhwa. I'm sure I'm misselling that. Okay, his fist is ridiculous. He's stronger than his peers. He's definitely stronger than his level. He's defeating, like... Around chapter 30, he's defeating, like, bandits at a high level and destroying them. I'll say at minimum he's A tier. Potentially he's S tier. In the first 30 chapters, can he challenge the most powerful people of his world? I'm not sure. Not sure. That one might be debatable. It might be an S tier, but I'm gonna leave it on the A tier. Promised Orchid. Ooh. Our protagonist is actually, at least based on who he is in the first 30 chapters, he's not that strong. Actually, he's extremely dependent on his blade. He's one of those never give up kind of guys, even though he's not the strongest guy, but he seems to have an affinity for this blade, and the blade gives him a certain level of power. So I'm going to say he's D tier. This doesn't speak to the quality of the manhwa, because this is definitely not the ranking of those manhwas as the quality. But in power level, I think our protagonist of this series is a definite D tier at the beginning. Most manhwa, they're going to get really strong eventually. That's just the rule. But from where they start, I think he's one of the weaker protagonists we're going to talk about. Hell, he's a definite E tier, if ever we had an E tier here. Working in a fantasy world, our protagonist is a powerhouse. Stronger than his peers, stronger than his environment. He's either an A or B tier right from the early chapters. I'm going to put him... I don't think he's a challenge the world's strongest right from the beginning kind of character. I'm going to put him in the B... Oh, God. This is where it's a little difficult. There's a lot of strong characters in this series, so I'm going to put him in the B tier for now. I think he's really strong. I think I'm going to get some hate for this one. I think you guys will probably be right. Apotheosis. So again, I'm going to base this on the first 30 chapters. Main protagonist Apotheosis is really strong. He gets a really strong power up in the first couple of chapters. Also, if you're interested in watching me read through Apotheosis, or Principles of Heaven is another name that it's called, I have a video reading through the 15 to 20 first chapters of that manhwa up in the coming days as well. So protagonist from this starts off with a hell of a power-up, and from there, he is stronger than everyone at his level. He's beating down teachers. He's basically defeats the clan head in the first 30 chapters or so. It's a little challenging on Apotheosis because those chapters are shorter. I'm just going to put that in perspective. I'm going to put him up at the A tier. He's a strong character, and if you really think about it, most powerful for the world doesn't really work for a lot of Chinese manhwa, because the world changes. The world changes as time goes on. So Apotheosis is, at the beginning, there's the world, and then it gets bigger. Martial Peak, it's even more crazy how much it scales beyond in the universe, basically, of power. They're traveling through space after a while, which is kind of crazy. Martial Peak, first 30 chapters, same principle. He gets a hell of a power-up, becomes very strong for his clan. I'm going to put him in a solid A tier. Okay, Tutorial Tower of the Advanced Player is the manhwa where a character gets basically stuck in the dungeon and keeps redoing it, if I'm remembering it correctly. He comes out ridiculously overpowered. It's stupid how much he's overpowered. I'm going to say right from the beginning, he can challenge people at the top tier. So he's our first S rank. Oh, and we might have another one coming right now. Rooftop Swordsman, as soon as he gets his power up, he's ridiculous and ludicrous and stupid. This is a guy with basically superpowers in a world where it doesn't apply. He's fighting military at the end, like with a sword, and this is like power fantasy times 1,000 of someone that was bullied. But like, I can't deny, in his world, he is ridiculously overpowered. The game I came from, Reincarnation story, kinda, yeah, it's a good Reincarnation story. He gets a second chance. He knows a lot how to be good at the game. He's definitely better than everyone else among his level. He's not able to challenge the top of the rankings from the beginning, though he's close to it from the start of being able to fight like some of the more advanced characters. So I might say he stands a solid A tier. All right. SSS Class Trash Hero. Not the best art in the world, by the way. The next two don't have the best art in the world, but they're a lot of fun, so I'm not going to complain about them. Trash Hero is a comedy in a lot of ways, more than it is an action series, but he's definitely extremely stronger than the people at his level. I would question if he's as strong as the people at the top of the world at the start of the story. He can definitely fight against people that are a couple of levels above what he should be. According to the thing, I'll shove him in A class. I might have to like think about what B class and C class is, because they're not that strong. Like, a lot of them are pretty powerful early on, able to take on like people way above their level. I'm actually going to shove him a little bit lower in the rankings. While he is smart and he knows, well, smart, he's a stupid idiot, but he knows the world well. He's a little bit stronger than his peers, and I'd say he's pretty strong for the level he's at, but there are definitely people at higher levels that can kick his ass at the beginning. Worn and Torn Newbie is a good one. I love that manhwa. I never talk about it, but it's one that's definitely really good. The art is pretty on point, and I think it actually gets better as you go on in the story. That being said, Worn and Torn Newbie, I would say he's stronger than his peers at the beginning. I'd say he's still at the level of like challenging his teachers, barely able to kind of take them on. Yeah. Actually, I'm going to bring down the game I came from lower. Yeah, I think he's at the level of beating his teacher at the beginning, but there's still some people that would have kicked his butt in the first 30 chapters, for sure. And I think I'm going to do the same for Martial Peak and Apotheosis. They're going to be in B tier, because fighting like 2 levels above you would have been too difficult at the start of the story. Yeah, in the first 30 chapters, I think that's a little unreasonable. Apotheosis is a little on the fence there. He definitely can. No, I'll leave it where it was. I'm not gonna, but the game I came from, definitely. That being said, what's next? Oh, Soul Land. Okay, I'm only doing one of the Soul Lands. I think this is the first one. I'm forgetting which one it is. First 30 chapters of Soul Land is not that much Soul Land. These things have hundreds and hundreds of chapters, so it actually takes some time to get going. Early on, he's strong, but his power takes some time to kind of pick up. I'll say he's better than those in his class level, not anything more than that. Solo Spellcaster, again, strong. I think he's strong for his level. I wouldn't go much beyond that. Soul Station Necromancer. He's powerful for his level. I don't think he's at the level, because he has some issues initially unlocking his power. By chapter 30, I don't think he's at the level of being able to fight against some of the more powerful people around him. I'm going to put this at B tier, actually. Taming Master has a protagonist that is pretty powerful in the first 30 chapters. There's a great tournament arc. It's not a huge tournament arc, but there's a tournament arc take place around chapter 30. It's a good way to scale his power. He's definitely stronger than his environment. The peers at his level, he's like wiping the floor with them. He is not at the level of fighting the strongest player characters in the world quite yet, but he definitely does get there eventually. That being said, I would put Taming Master somewhere around B. He can fight maybe professors or teachers. I don't think he's at the level of fighting like the executives, if you will, of this world. The Live is a pretty good manhwa. I think it's slept on quite a bit. Protagonist is strong for his environment. strong for his class level, but he does challenge at his class level. I think he would actually fall maybe under the B or C tier in the first 30 or so chapters. He gets stronger, but there's a lot of people. I'd say C. He's strong in his class, but he's still at that level in his class. All right, the Challenger or Challenger. I dislike this manhwa. I think its setup is kind of terrible, but it does get better. The art is on point as well. He's strong. He's strong for the beginning, just because he kind of has basically a cheat for his synchronicity with the game system. That being said, is it the best thing out there? Well, is he the best thing out there? I'm gonna say he's strong enough to be really impressive for his class. There's definitely some professors or teachers who would kick his butt in the context. Auto hunting's an interesting one because it's it's kind of original to a certain extent. I think his ability is powerful in essence. That being said, I think that I would put him as strong enough to challenge his professors. Yeah, that level. The world after the end or the world after the fall. Okay, so he is extremely OP when he enters the world, already at the level of fighting at a city level, not a country level yet. He does have to power up before that happens, so I'm going to have to put him in the... So, principal... Yeah. Yeah, I'd say that... I may have done this a little wrong. Yeah, he's a threat at a really high level right from the start. His power-up only happens when they start going out of the place, so he kicks the butt of the city level. He's kind of at the country level or the region level, which is where he'd fight. He'd probably lose, but he'd at least challenge at that level. And that's arguable. I think he'd either be A or B in his world. Again, it's always the context of his world, because people in his world are pretty crazy strong. Actually, no. I'm going to put... This is going to be crazy, because he's so OP, but his world is really dangerous. And just his starting environment is ridiculously weak, basically. But I'm going to put World After the Fall in B tier, just because he's not at the level of fighting national level people at the beginning. And he in no way is able to challenge, like, the world's strongest at the start. Like, forget it. Okay, so... Mythic Sword. Is that the name of it? I forget the name. Overpowered Sword, yeah. Overpowered Sword. I like Overpowered Sword. It's a lot better than it should be. So, he's really strong for his class that he's in at the beginning. But he's still fighting people within that level. Like, the prince is still in that level at the start of the story. And that's kind of where he is when he leaves, those first 30 chapters or so. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Worthless Regression, he's strong at the beginning, but he does have a bit of a slow start. I'm going to put him in the B tier. Because of what he knows about the regression, he's able to do a lot of stuff. It does take him a little time to power up. Can he fight a teacher? Yeah, I'll say he can fight at a teacher level. Okay, Book of Lagier, he's strong even at the beginning. I'm going to say Book of Lagier, he's very powerful right from the beginning. It's a stupid story. I actually really actively dislike this manhwa, but hey, it is what it is. Noblesse. Noblesse is a solid S tier right from the beginning. He is legitimately one of the most powerful creatures in the world. There is very few people as strong as him right from the start. So yeah, like, there's very little to say. He's like the most powerful vampire in existence that can fight against the strongest werewolves in existence. And he doesn't really power up throughout the series. He just is. It creates a unique dynamic. I Grow Stronger by Eating is a fun manhwa. God, I didn't like that ending. That was not impressive by any means. I Grow Stronger by Eating, I'm going to put you over in the... You are definitely stronger than your peers. You're stronger than your class... Would it be? Would it be? It's so context-based, but in the first 30 chapters, I'd say he can, in the right context, definitely is among the strongest of his level. Not strongest in the world, not strongest in the national level. I'd go as far as putting him in B tier. God of Blackfield. This is when it's interesting. This one and Mercenary Enrollment, I think, are legitimately interesting ones to look at, because unlike some other stuff out there, they're purely humans in this world. But if I look at it, he is at the level to fight pretty much anyone. Though he does get help. This is where it's different. Like himself, is he strong enough to fight every opponent around? I'd put him in the A tier. There are situations where he does need an assist, where he needs some support, and he calls on it to help him out. I think he's a well-rounded character because of it, actually. But I'm gonna put him in the A tier. Honestly, we have yet to see a soldier so far that as powerful as him. Okay, max level returner is probably going to be... Okay, so in this case, I'm going to say he can solo bosses, which is about the same as beating a teacher. I'm going to put him in this area. He for his world, he's strong. He's still powering up in the first 30 chapters. There's still people that are stronger than him, but he's definitely stronger than his cohort, generally speaking. Moonlight Sculptor is an interesting one because it's a very different power, and the way it's done is an interesting one. I'm going to put it in C tier. It becomes really OP later, but I'm going to say that it's C tier for the start. God of Highschool. Chapter 30. Okay, so I'm going to say when he unlocks the Monkey King's power. That's going to be the point at which we're going to evaluate God of Highschool. When he unlocks the Monkey King's power, he can fight gods. Maybe not the first time he unlocks it, though. He's still struggling against some of his fellow challengers, actually, when I think about it. Like the Foxfire guy and stuff like that, these fights are really tough. That happens really early on, but in the first 30 chapters, I'd say he cannot win right away against the executives. He wouldn't win against the gods right away. At least not, like, some of them. He wouldn't win, definitely would not win against the leader, I forget the name of everyone, God. The organizer of the tournament. I'm going to say he's going to be B tier at the beginning. He's a super OP character. It's kind of ridiculous, but, like, for his world is just ridiculous as well, so it is what it is. Lone Necromancer. Okay, Lone Necromancer is an interesting one because he chooses his power. It's necromancy at the beginning and blah, blah, blah. He's definitely stronger than his environment. His ability is a little OP among his peers. He's not the only one with a strong ability, though, among his peers. I'd say in the first 30 chapters, he's ranking really highly among the more powerful peers. Probably not strong enough to challenge the biggest bosses of the world yet, but his goal is a noble one, for the beginning at least. Escort Warrior. That's a fun reincarnation story, if I'm remembering it correctly. Definitely a strong character. Can't beat the strongest people in the world yet. Is very powerful, though, in comparison to everyone else. I'm going to put you in the B tier. Dungeon House. It takes some time to get going, this one. Not my favorite manhwa in the world, but it's still alright. I'm going to say, first couple of chapters, he's one of the only ones that survives, but among those in his group that actually do get strong, he's just one of them. I'm going to say he's strong, but I'm still going to put him in the D tier for the first 30 chapters or so. Reincarnation of the clan's former ranker. At chapter 30, he's already ridiculous. He's already at a level of challenging city-level opponents. I'm going to put him in the A tier at that point. He's already, like, ridiculously overpowered. Star Martial God Technique takes a bit of time to get going, so he doesn't get really powerful until a bit later, because his power is... He's not... initially, he's not even that strong among his peers. I'm still going to say he's a bit stronger than his class at the beginning. Master of Gu is a extremely powerful character right from the beginning. God, I wish the chapters of this one weren't so darn short and that the series just kind of ended, unfortunately, for reasons outside of this. That being said, I think from the beginning he's extremely, extremely powerful. I'm going to say he's here just because there's the clan heads above. There's still some challenge. Like, if I look at the fights that happen around Chapter 30, there's still some people that are challenging afterwards. Existence. Okay. Existence is a solid S tier. He's a bit of an overpowered character in some ridiculous ways. I will say, I do love the setup of Existence. I don't quite think they did what they could have with it. Kills me. But I think Existence stands by as still something with a ton of potential for the future, hoping that it kind of lives up to it eventually. Okay, Plundering the Heavens, slow start once again. This character goes from 0 to hero, but he's not able to challenge really high-level things at the beginning. He's strong among his circle. I'd say he's strong among his class, about all people his age, generally speaking, at that age. Dragon. He's strong. Like, why do I keep saying that? Everyone is strong in this series. It's ridiculous. In this like list. That's kind of the whole point. I'm gonna put Dragon at the C tier. From the beginning, there's some really powerful stuff. Is it B tier? I'm gonna put him at B tier, C tier. Kill the Dragon is a pretty good manhwa. I actually enjoy it quite a bit. Though I will say the protagonist takes a good amount of time to become very strong. Among his peers, because of his mindset, I'm actually gonna put it in the D tier. Though he does get some stuff that makes him extremely powerful eventually. I do think his mind is... Okay, so unique lineage. I forget the rest of the name, but both his parents have these unique lineages that have these crazy background powers that make him, like, extremely excessively strong in everything, kinda. He has a huge advantage right from the beginning. He is around a lot of people that are quite powerful. Can he challenge principal level? I don't think so at the beginning. I'm going to put him in the C tier. It does take a little bit of time before he gets powerful, honestly. Scholar's Reincarnation is a fun manhwa. I will say Scholar's Reincarnation takes a bit of time before he powers up. I'm going to start him off in D. Definitely a good one. Ooh, Return of the Crazy Demon. Okay, here's argument's sake. Return of the Crazy Demon right from the beginning could definitely be fighting people way stronger than he chooses to fight, but he definitely keeps powering up in between. Let's look 30 chapters in. He's probably able to fight. He's definitely beyond the... I'd say he's A tier. I can't say he's S tier because at the beginning of the story, he doesn't have the power. But it's like, the only thing about this one is it's so telegraphed that he will have the power sooner or later. Though I guess that's kind of true for all of them. Rise from the Rubble. I really enjoy this manhwa. There's a lot of good ones on... Obviously, there's a lot of good ones on this list. But Rise from the Rubble... Okay, powers up really early on. I probably put him around the... He's either in the C tier. He's a strong C or a low B. I'm going to put him as a strong C. Return of the Shattered Constellation, he's very, very strong from the beginning. I'm going to put him in the B tier. Not quite higher than that. Okay, Youngest Scion of Mages, I would say I would put him... At the beginning, he's strong for his environment. I'll put him as strong for his environment. You could easily put him in the C tier. He's strong enough to fight some teachers, probably. No, I'd say he's strong enough to fight his class. I'll leave him in the D tier. Archmage Transcending through time. He's fighting really early on against a not a house head, but someone that's quite powerful. So I'm gonna put him at the B tier. He's able to fight people that are at the teacher level right there from the beginning. I think he can't quite live up to higher than that simply because he hasn't powered up yet. Blade of Evolution, don't read it. Just don't read it. Blade of Evolution is done. Never really finished. The problem with this series is not that the protagonist is OP. The problem with this series is how he gets his power and how he becomes OP. They're all OP. Everyone's overpowered in these stories. They struggle, but they don't really struggle all that much in some cases. Okay, so Blade of Evolution, his power way above his class. Like, ironically, at the beginning, he really isn't, but he rises quite quickly. As soon as he powers up, he kind of becomes in his own level, way more powerful than teachers. I'll put it here. All right, next. A skeleton who failed to protect the dungeon. This is a damn good manhwa, guys. If you're not reading this one, this is really good. He takes a little bit of... some of them take a little bit of time to power up. He doesn't take that long to power up in his case. I'm going to give him... It's a bit hard, actually. I'm going to put this at this... What's his class? Is he stronger than other skeletons? This is one of those examples where it kind of breaks the mold. A lot of these are either school level or hunter levels, but it's kind of in its own category. I'm going to put it in the C tier, because he's definitely not just high from his entourage. He's high for like his entire environment, but... Arcane Sniper, kind of a mediocre manhwa, not gonna lie. I think he's pretty strong. He's strong for his class. Okay. I Am the Sorcerer King. Okay. This is an extremely OP protagonist. Right from the beginning. Yes, he powers up, but he reaches a point of power at the international level within like no time at all. Then the only challenges already become dungeons that are more difficult than him. So think about his environment. He surpasses everyone on Earth like super quickly. Can I say that he can fight the strongest right from the beginning though? I can't quite say that. I'd have to put him in A tier. I think he's extremely strong. He fights against nation-level people, but he doesn't quite fight against world-level people, if you know what I mean. And he probably would lose to the national-level people at the beginning, but he could challenge them. So I'd say A. Fengshen Ji. He's not very strong in the first 30 chapters or so. You're fighting against gods in this, so I'm gonna do Tien would be like S. The other gods would be A tier, and I'd probably put him in the B tier at the beginning. It kind of depends what power up you consider his power up level, because if I do that, it's quite advanced in the story. But that would make him still B tier because it allows him to finally fight against some lesser gods till he fights against the stronger ones. Undefeatable Swordsman. Undefeatable Swordsman, I think he's strong for his class. He kind of shows them up, but there are definitely people stronger than him out there. Bow Blade Spirit. Ooh. Extremely powerful fighter. Gets to be, in the first 30 chapters, pretty top tier. I think that the leaders of the different sects would still be stronger than him, and there are some villains that are more powerful than him early on. I'd say he's B tier. He's definitely above the level of his class and his entourage. He's at the level of his professors and senseis. Soul leveling. For as OP as Sung Jin-woo is, I'm going to use the moment that he gains his ability to raise the dead. From that point, he would probably be able to fight against national level people. Oh, can he? Actually, this is interesting. So, if I think about the timeline of the story, it's only when he gets Beru that he's able to... No, that's not true. He's already powerful enough at the point where he goes to the Jeju Island, which is S tier level fighters. Which means when he gets his level ability to raise the dead, he's at the S tier. That means there's only the national level above him. He's probably, as soon as he unlocks that, he becomes a A-tier guy. Which would only leave... He can't quite fight at the national level, but he can... And in his case, he can't fight against the international threats. But he really can't fight against the big bad villains of the story. This one's challenging. So if I were to put S tier as like the Dragon Monarch, A tier is national level. He's higher than the S tiers. But I think he could challenge some of the national levels. Yeah, I'll leave it A. I think he can leave it. He can fight some of the national levels. Maybe he'd lose, but he could fight them. And then he would lose against the Monarchs at the higher level. Beginning after the end, strong for his class. Definitely strong for his class. Probably stronger than some teachers. Could easily... He can challenge them. Thinking about where he is in the first 30 chapters or so, he can probably challenge some low-level teachers. I'd say B. He's overpowered, but he's not excessively overpowered at first. It's more of a question of variety. He has access to so much stuff and gets to mix it together, which gives him his overpoweredness. Mercenary Enrollment, wow, that's a great way to cut that picture, a lovely system of tier maker. So, Mercenary Enrollment is going to be an S tier for me, and I'm going to explain it to you guys. He has soloed pretty much armies at this point. Like, whole groups are sent to attack him. From the first chapter of this story, he could fight against the strongest people in this world, and he'd probably win right from the outset. We have yet to see someone that really puts his life in danger. The only reason he even faces challenges is because they keep kidnapping his people, and it is what it is. Next, we're gonna have Overgeared. Where would I put Overgeared? Overgeared, he has a crazy OP ability. It makes him stronger than some people when he starts getting his items. First 30 chapters or so, does he get strong enough? I'd say he's strong in the first 30 chapters. Where do we get in the first 30 chapters? I'll say he's strong enough for teacher level. Yeah. In the first 30 chapters, if I remember correctly, he's still at the level where the clan leaders are still there, and there's the big bosses of the game, the big bosses. SSS Class Suicide Hunter. This is a very powerful character that gets a good ability to become stronger. I'm going to put him at the B tier or A tier? No, he isn't quite able to beat the strongest people in his world at the beginning. He's definitely struggling. He can challenge his teachers or the people at higher level than him initially. A returner's magic should be special. Returner's magic should be special is... He starts off like restarted. He has to kind of power up. He's at the level of at least challenging his professors. Alright guys, I'm going to stop this video here, and I'm going to be posting a part 2 with the rest of the list where I'm going to go over the other OP Manhwa. If you like this, please do like and subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it. And with that guys, I'm going to see you guys very soon.